This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so where were we? Let me do a quick recap and then we will progress with our further topics. So last week we spoke about QM integration. So in QM integration, we discussed about what are the different deployment options of QM with EWM. We spoke about QI and then greater emphasis on QM in S/4HANA, and the scope of QI is reduced because we just have one embedded system now. And then we spoke about we did execute one scenario. We maintained the master data and we created an inspection log. We gave the user decision as a follow-on action. The stock type was changed and the assignment of inspection rule was removed from the stock. Then we understood about the different important configuration in the QM side. What is IoT inspection object types? They get activated by QM, and then major integration we have with them is they could create follow-on task from their side, and that follow-on task would be picked up by the warehouse clerk, and then he or she would take the stock into the final bin, okay, or to a scrap area or to a vendor return area. So we also spoke about creating several follow-on action and testing them. So I did assign you some activities to check how this follow-on action as a follow-on how the task is created. I hope you all might have tested that. Then we also spoke about the uh, before that we also spoke about the availability group. I hope now the concepts are clear. What is stock type, availability group, assignment of availability group to the storage type, assignment of availability group to the plant store location, combination, and then different stock types created within availability group. Any questions before we proceed from anyone?
Yes, Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did some I did some testing with the quality inspection uh, transactions we did
Okay.
using your WH35. So
Mm-hmm.
the UD happened, but I realized that the stock type did not change.
Okay.
I sent a mail to you concerning that. I don't know if you saw the mail.
No, I haven't got chance to check my email. So, um, okay. Okay, since you have the data ready, okay, we'll pick that up. At the end, we can stay back and go through, the
Okay.
documents and see where it is stuck.
Okay.
And anyone else, any other issues? Arjun, is the issue resolved or it's still there?
Rohan, I have one more issue while scanning the RFQ,
Mm-hmm.
where it says that stored handling unit is invalid.
Handling unit invalid.
Mm. So when you try to scan the first page, right, so it's showing an error that invalid HU source handling
Okay,
or
so can
invalid
you
HU. Yeah,
can you keep your data ready? We'll have a look at the end, yeah.
sure. Okay.
And this your warehouse order is still not getting the queue assigned, right?
Q is getting assigned. Now
That is completed now. Okay. Okay, so we'll look into this, um, later. During after the session. Okay. Any other queries or doubts by anyone? Okay, if no further questions, then we'll go ahead with today's topic. So today's topic is put-away strategies. So put-away strategy is about determining a suitable bin for put-away. So you might have realized while we were testing inbound, I was always giving the bin manually. Okay, so basically, whenever I was creating a task, I was entering the bin where it has to be, the stock has to be put away, and I was creating a task and confirming the task. Now, in the actual production environment, users don't have time or bandwidth, and as I told you, the actual setup is going to be like everyone is going to use their scanners, and system is supposed to create task and warehouse orders, and the operators, warehouse users, will get that work directly onto their scanners. Okay, so what will happen if every time users have to create a task? How do we automate it? So there are two automations here which we have to think about. First, as soon as the good receipt is done, okay, the task should be created automatically, or and the next one would be when the task is created, system should automatically determine a most suitable bin. So there are different types of products, different types of storage, different types of processes. So based on these, different attributes, how we can control which bin are getting determined. Okay. So we will be focusing here on the bin determination. Okay, the bin is the final outcome, but before we determine the bin, we have to do the storage type determination, section determination, HU type determination, and then the final suitable bin. So basically, while you determine the bin, there are several checks, several determinations, um, uh, several objects we need to determine. Like for example, storage type. We need to first determine which is most appropriate storage type for the um, for the stock that we are going to put away. Okay, so basically here I've listed. We basically determine first the most suitable storage type, then the most suitable storage section, then we determine the appropriate bins for that particular handling unit, and then out of that, most suitable bins, we identify one or two suitable bin which will be used to put away that stock for which we are creating the task. So so we will be focusing on creation of tasks. We'll be focusing on determining the task bin, but not the automation of task. Okay, we'll do that task creation. Not, I mean that the task creation automation, like as soon as we do the GR, a task should be created. That automation will cover later. But we are now, before we go into that, the first step would be when we are creating the task, even though we create it manually, we do not have to give the bin, because system will determine the bin. Because if it works manually, bin determination, that automatic, whenever we activate that automatic task creation, there also it will work. Okay, so that automation is covered in PPF topic, which we'll cover later. But for now, we are focusing. So for PPF to work, definitely this strategy should work. Okay, so I would like to give you some brief background, some terms related to put away strategy. So one is put away preparation. Okay, so whenever we execute put away, we do it in two steps, right? We create a task and we confirm it on the scanner. So creation of the task based on different parameter is called put away preparation. Okay, so this preparation is automated, and then when this task or order is created, it is executed, right? We confirm it on the scanner or on the desktop or on the monitor. So this is basically the execution step of put away. Okay, so the put away strategies, we'll what are the I've just briefly told you what are the strategies we'll look at, what type of product it is, what type of storage is suitable for the product, or what type of storage we have available. We have rack, open storage, and what kind of process also we are executing. It depends on all three parameters. So when in system the determination takes place, you know we spoke about there are four types of four in this determination happens in these four sequence. Yeah, first storage type, section, bin, and just bin type, and then finally bin. So I would like you to imagine, for example, in a storage, for example, in your warehouse, we have six storage types. Okay, so out of that six, we identify storage type 8001, for example. Okay, so in this, see, I'm just telling you how do we limit our search. So first step would be, we need, let's say, one bin for a handling unit. Okay, so in my warehouse, I have um, eight storage types. So first six storage type. First step is to reduce that to one. So first I'll determine in which storage type I have to put away. Okay. Then in that storage type, I will have several sections, like we have casing, shafts. In 8003, we have fast moving, slow moving sections. So let's say in 8001, there are 1000 bins. Now 500 belongs to fast moving section, 500 belongs to slow moving section. Let's say this product is supposed to go to slow moving section. Okay. So then my number of bins are reduced to 500. Okay. Then now the next step is to, okay, I don't have my, it may not be neat, but let me try. Okay. I don't have my pencil today. The next step is, so now we have reduced total bins. May have 10,000 bins in the warehouse. We identified the storage type. We came to 1000, and then from there we identified the right section. We have reduced with 500 bins to select from where we can store stock. Now this handling unit, it has certain preferences. This handling unit has a big height or big width, or more weight, where or where I can only place it into 100 suitable bins. Okay, so now this is a handling unit check. Handling unit can go in that storage type or not, whether handling unit is allowed to go. There is space within the aisle. If my pallet is too big, I cannot take it within those two, between those two aisles. I cannot store them, right? So out of those 500 bins, I am now reduced with 100 which are suitable for this pallet. I'll give you examples when we configure. Typical examples are, bins with a big height. They have big height, and generally we store them on the low level. Okay, so let's say this bin has a big height, and the and or more weight, so we would like to store them in the lower level. The lightweight pallets, or the pallets which have less height, generally they go up. As we go up, we store light products. We prefer storing as light products, but it all depends on your rack design. Okay, so your warehouse supervisor will tell you what is the criteria based on which we should be identifying the bins. So now bin type check is nothing but we also call it as HU type check. This is similar to the SU type check we had in WM. That's where we do a validation of the bins against the type of pallet. Okay, against which we are storing. So now we are left with 100 bins. Now out of those 100 bins, which one bin is determined? That is controlled using strategies. We call them as putaway strategies. Okay, so all I would call is, so these all are strategy. These all are basically strategies, and this is, let's say, bin determination strategy. Okay. So first we'll discuss, how to select a particular storage type, what should be taken into consideration in a selection of storage type, and then how a particular section is to be selected, then how the palette is based on the palette, how the right appropriate bins are selected, and then we will look at the strategies, bin determination strategies. So there are 7 to 8 strategies. We'll go through them. How a bin is determined, whether system out of this 100 bins take any bin, any first empty bin, or out of this 100 bins. So now the product and pallets have qualified. Now it's time to select. So I may say, sometimes if there is a bin which already has this product, keep on adding product into the same bin. Okay, so because we have some space left. Okay, so what are the bin determination strategies? What are the things we need to keep in mind while selecting a particular strategy? We'll discuss that in the storage bin determinations, configuration. Okay, so first we go to the storage type determination. Okay, so I'll log into SAP parallelly and we will see this config node. Okay. So it's part of good receipt process strategy. Okay, so we will start with storage type search, storage section search, then these are bin determination. Okay, so let me create a purchase order. Okay, and create one inbound delivery so that we can see the impact of configuration in our testing simultaneously. Okay, so I'm going to create an inbound delivery where we'll do the configuration, keep on testing what happens. Thousand store location, I'll create a purchase order into confirmations. It's there, let me save it. Confirmation control key is there, save it. For this purchase order, the next step is we'll create an inbound delivery. Okay, so the store location and warehouse are rightly determined. I'll save it. 2261. Okay. So now we open this in the inbound delivery. So now just to keep it simple, I will make sure we just have one handling unit, one level of handling unit. Because we have wire basket within a carton, let me, for the ease of learning the relevance of handling unit, I'll just take it into one level for now. Okay, so these are pallet within pallet. Let us first understand the single level. Going to remove this pallet or empty pallet, or I'll delete it. Okay, so I have unpacked and just have product within the palette. Yeah, just one level. Okay, so our data is ready. Now let me show you. Colon function, warehouse task. So now this is the place, so this create should go and determine a suitable storage type section bin for me. Okay, so it doesn't do that. Okay, and you can see it's in quality. I don't want quality for now. Okay, I have to look into some issues which you have reported, so I'll keep quality at the end of the session. Maybe I'll remove it. So here we can see, if you go to default type, I have been giving the bin. So essentially what happens in the program, this is storage type, section, bin. So when I do a create, system first determines the storage type, then the section, and then the bin. Okay, so we are at this stage, which storage type it should go. Okay, let's go to the config, storage type search. So now there are several parameters based on which these storage types are determined. So one of the parameter is the putaway control indicator. Okay, and this is very important parameter. Like it's basically the product. We have a putaway control indicator in the product master. Based on that indicator, okay, system is going to determine a relevant storage for us. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create putaway control indicator. So the product that I'm going to put away, WH35 8001. Okay, I'll save it. So basically, there are six storage types. I have the products which are supposed to go to 8001 will have 8001 as an indicator, which are supposed to go to 8002 will have 8002 as an indicator. Okay, or we can create something like so it's not mandatory to have this. I can do one to one. Okay, or I can say create an indicator. So now there are products. See, when we look into the warehouse, it's not always going to be one to one, right? So let me give you an example. When we are placing the stock here, okay. So when I say 800, it will come here. So it is very obvious in the actual world, in the physical world, that there may not be enough space available here. Okay, so when there is no bin identified, let's say I gave you a very happy scenario. You have 1,000 bins, you end up having 100, bins which qualify. What happens if none of the bins qualify? Your task creation will fail. Again, in terms of sustainable solution, a good SAP solution, we do not want users to again go to desktop and create a task. What we should tell users in our workshops, we should say, okay, see, don't you want to give a backup? If the stock system does not find a bin, look into another place. Okay, or look into another place. Okay, so what we do is we give a search sequence in which you know which system is going to follow. So I will say first look into 8001. If there are no bins, then go to 8002. If you still don't find empty bins, go here. Okay, so this is one whole group of group of storage type, one entire area. So let me group these. So these are open storage. So these are pallets. So I cannot store pallets on the floor. So I will not. I'll rather keep them, in the GR area till we have some space here. So these three storage type, I would group them into a sequence. Okay. So sequence is important because as I told you, if at all you are going with just one, if it fails, it goes the task goes for a failure, and then somebody has to go and do manual troubleshooting on the desktop. So here in this 8001, okay, generally what we do is we create another storage type called as overflow. So if there is no pin, all these three, see, there are chances, warehouses will get full. So all these three storage types, if they are full, we may create an overflow area where we go and keep it. Okay, we it's a physical area, where they keep pallet till the space is available. So how the space is going to be available? Because somebody is going to pick the parts, right? Today, later today, in the afternoon, in the evening. At some point, the space is going to get available. So we'll keep the stock in this overflow area, and end of the day, we'll bring it to the bins when it gets free. So my put-away strategy would be search in 8001 to 5, and you don't find anything, put it into the overflow area. So that way, I'm making sure the task is always created. Okay. So task failure we will eliminate, because here in this overflow area, I'll give it as unlimited capacity. Okay. That means even though there is some capacity here, there are constraints here, I'll not put any constraint here. I'll say it's overflow area, whatever quantity, whatever handling, you just simply take that in this overflow bin. Okay. So by that way, I will make sure always the task never fails and always it gets created either to these three areas or to the overflow area. Okay. So these are some of the points we need to keep in mind when we are designing the strategies. So here I can do a one-to-one, like, see, certain parts they cannot go into another storage. So there are some pallets which will only go to 8001. Business will say if no 8001, then go to overflow directly. Okay, there are some parts which can go to 1 to 5. There are some parts which can only go to 5, some parts which can only go to 2. So we have to create such strategies. Okay, so what I will do is I will create two strategies here. For now, I'll say rack storage. Okay, put away into rack storage. So this product that I'm going to put away, the strategy for that is it should go for 1 to 5, and I think that should be enough. We should be able to find something in 5. We don't see need for overflow. We say we have big warehouse, we always get bin available. Okay, so what I will give is I give my search sequence. Okay, so what I say in my warehouse WH35, RKST is my storage type put away control indicator. So in my product master, I will go and maintain RKST first. Yeah. So this is the indicator. Okay, now we just created this indicator. We have to do the config to give the sequence for this indicator. So we created indicator, we create a sequence now, and then we marry them together. Okay. So RKST is the sequence, put away into a rack storage. Yeah. So all these three are racks. Yeah, 8001, 2, and 8003. Okay. So parallelly, I'm going to create some more sequence, like put away into WH35, put away into 8003, for example. okay, for some other product. Okay, and I will create another sequence, maybe WH23, WH35, sorry, put away into 8004, or maybe I'll say finished goods put away. So when I receive finished product, they should first go into 8004. If not, go to 8006. So I create three search sequences. So I'll say FI put away, finished goods, FG put away, finished goods. Okay. So now basically I have three types of products. Okay, in the warehouse. One which are RKST, which will go follow the sequence 8001, 8003, 02, sorry, 8005. The other one is 800. The other products which are open storage, I can create a indicator with open for, let's say, let me follow the same naming convention. It will go to 8003, and then third last one is FI FGST, where it will follow 8004 first. If there are no bins found in 8004, it will go to 8006. Okay, so what we have here is something like this. Say sequence 1, 1, 2, 3, 1 only here and 1 and 2 here. Okay, this is storage type, and this is the product control indicator, which we call it put away control indicator, which we also call it as passive. Okay, so now let's do one thing. We will now create the open one indicator, and then we will come and do the further settings. Okay. So I'm going back here. I will create open. You can create as many strategies as you want. It's up to users, how they would want to control. Okay, so here we are. So, we created search sequence. Let me, create indicators similar to my sequence. Yeah. So I have also created open, put away into open storage, and then I have also created finished goods. And yeah, WH35 open. Oh, sorry, FGST put away into finished goods stores. Yeah, FG stores. Let me see. Storage stores, whatever. So now I created this putaway control indicators. I'll create this, sequence. So the name of the sequence also is same as my putaway control indicator. Okay. Now in that search sequence, I'm going to give this storage type assignment. Which sequence, which means which assignment. Okay. So let's go here. I will say assign storage type to search sequence. So that's where I'll give the sequence 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to say warehouse WH35. If the putaway control indicator is RKST, First is look into 8001. Okay, you can see sequence 1 is assigned. Then WH35, same storage type. The sequence is now the next one I would say go to 8002. Then WH35, RKST 8005. That's my third sequence. Okay. Now when it comes to open, WH35, open, it should go to 8003. Just one, open one is enough. Okay. And when it comes to okay, when it comes to the finished goods, WH35, storage type search sequence, we said FGST, and the search sequence says first look into 8004, GPT it is, and then you don't find stock in 8004, go to 8006. Okay. Then we found out the sequence. Okay, now let me maintain the sequence. So for now I have kept it very static, right? What I've told WH35, if the product is having indicator as RKST, it should follow this sequence. Okay. Now we'll see what are the other indicators and why we need them. WH35, open, should go into follow the open sequence, the product have open. So basically we are defining sequence based on product. Can we have some variations here? Let us discuss. So this is FGST. Oh, sorry, PT. Oh. See, the next indicator here is process type. So if you remember, we created our own process type 1010, which is inbound from supplier. See, we will have several other process types. For example, we get inbound from production. Okay, so as of now, I've inbound from production. This product, the same product is received from production. Okay, we can follow different sequence. Okay, so what is this Putaway control indicator FGST? Okay, I've just FGPT here and I've created FKST. Okay, doesn't matter. So here what I've done is my parameters are Putaway control indicator and the process. So process type controls the process. So if you remember in the last session we discussed process type. They are determined based on the document type, item type, and they are determined based on the delivery priority and um, I think the activity which you are performing. I think there were 4 parameters which we discussed. So this process type we have maintained and determined for a delivery. So delivery is a different process. We may have a different process type for good received from production or different process for goods issued to STO, goods issued to customer orders. So when we have this process types, we can control for the same product. So if the same product I'm receiving from production, in outbound we'll have some different strategies. But let's say inbound we have 2 types of inbound, one from production, one from external receipt. Those are the common inbounds. Or let's say we have another scenario where we have a customer return order. Okay, the same product, RKST, the customer return orders have process type 1014. Okay, so this products, the customer return product, should not go into RKST. They should go to return storage type. Let's say we have a return storage type. Okay, so same product depending on the process. So now the process is different. It's a customer returns. So we have it's a different document type, a different delivery type in ERP, different delivery type in EWM. We have configured to a different process type in EWM. So what we are essentially saying, if the process changes, the process type will change, and process type will change. Our Putaway search sequence can change. Yeah, if we want, it's not mandatory. You can say every time, it's based on product only, but I'm just telling you process type also we use to influence where the product goes. Okay, so what we are determining here, which storage type and which sequence of storage type system should search. So we looked into product as a parameter, process as a parameter. There are several more. Okay, we'll go to them one by one. Next is your quantity classification. And as we go ahead, we'll use this quantity classification. You will use it, it depends on your pallet size. So for example, if it's a, you know, mm, if it's a big pallet, then it should go to 8001. If it's a small pallet, it should go to 8005. So, or let me give you an example. If the products are received in pallets, it should go to 8001. If the products are received in wire basket, a kind of loose products, or they are received in kind of a bag, loose pieces like 10, 15, not many. You put them into 8005. Okay, so basically based on the quantity of the product, you decide where it should go. Okay, as the name suggests, quantity classification. Next is your stock type. So whether it's so very common thing here is you have, several stock types that we created. Very common setting that we do in strategy is if it's a block stock, if quality said it's a blocked, it should go to, so quality has rejected the stock, it goes into block stock. So then it should not go to RKST, it should go to, somewhere in the block area. Okay. So we also have follow on actions, but we can also determine using this search strategy, where it should go. Okay. So another thing is if it's quality. So as of now, we did the quality inspection in the GR area itself. But let's say we do a quality in a dedicated specialized quality work center. So when you do the GR, you create a task, system will say, oh, it's a quality task. That means a task is for quality stock. How do you know it's a quality stock? By looking at the stock type. Okay. So then system will create a task to quality work center rather than 8001234 5 wherever. It will go to quality work center and then you can inspect there. So what you can have a different search sequence based on the stock type. If it's quality, don't take it to RKST. I'll create a new search sequence QRST or whatever QINS, and it will go to the quality storage type. Okay. In SAP inventory management, you might have learned about different types of stock. We have project stock, sale order stock. We have consignment process, vendor return process. So for all these RTP process, for for all this process, we basically we can determine a separate search sequence. Okay, we can define a separate area to be determined. We can have a separate area based on patent to dispose, which means if we have different plants against which we are storing the stock. So when we receive the stock for different plants, so plant A, it should go to so and so storage type. If it is for plant B, it should go to different storage type. So if you remember during our integration setting, we set the plant basically is mapped as patent to dispose, plant BP is assigned to patent to dispose. So different plants will have different stock of different plants will have different patent to dispose, and we can control whether we want to take them to the same area. As of now, I'm just putting all of them to the same area, but if at all there is a requirement to put them into separate areas, you can do that configuration here. And then there is hazardous rating. This is for hazardous managed product, dangerous goods, and you can define a different search sequence for the dangerous goods based on their hazardous rating. So here basically we control where the product is going. Okay. So now, for example, I said my product should go to RKST. Okay, let us see whether it's really going into RKST. So I'll come here, go back, and come in again. Let us now see how the determination is working. Click on create. Now you can see system has determined something. We don't have to give a default value. Okay, I was giving default value at the time here. Now system has determined, it's turned to green, system has determined a pin. Oh, but why 8005? Our sequence was 8001, then 2, then 5. So what has happened basically, it couldn't find a bin in 8001 and 2. So if you look here, always, if you want to see how the system is creating tasks, look at this log. If you read it, you'll be able to understand it more clearly. So stock in the GR area, okay, and you can see search sequence RKST was found. Then system tried to put away into 8001. There is something called a section search HU type check which we'll see now. Couldn't place it there. 8002 also tried, then finally it went into 8005. And it is, if I save it, that means system has determined a bin and the task is created by by us, and the bin determination has been through system. But I'll not create a task. I want the bin to be determined. Okay. So what I will do is it should go to 8001. This palette, it's a palette. I don't see why it shouldn't go to 8001. So I'll further investigate the further determination points for my strategy. Hello. Yeah, any question? Okay. I'll determine further determination parameters for my strategy, and then I'll see why it is not going to 8001. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Any questions, guys?
Uh, Rohan, for the work center, we have defined an inbound work center. So is it a kind of the storage control process, or is it along the, I mean, is it on the inbound process flow?
Yeah, I mean, these are the two work centers, and during storage control we will determine them.
Okay. Okay. So during this normal process, it will be directly going to the destination bin.
Yeah, so I think if you recollect, when the start of the inbound we discussed there are two types of inbound, basic and complex. As of now, we are only focusing on basic. Two steps: good receipt and put away, and then as part of complex, we will these two steps are mandatory for basic and complex both the put away and the GR. So we are now focusing on the basic first, the put away
Okay.
task.
Oh, okay. And Rohan, I was also defining a few storage bins for new warehouse WH37. And it
Mm-hmm.
said like no bin assignment, no warehouse assignment is not possible. And I checked and looks like the warehouse did not have the supply chain unit party and title to dispose assigned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason it displays the error message. And
Mm-hmm.
if I try to use any other warehouse as a reference, still it points to the new warehouse. Whenever I try to just even try to display what has been assigned to, for example, WH34 or WH35, still it goes to WH37. So is there any way I could check other warehouses just to find out like how the supply chain units party and title to
Yeah,
dispose
you
are
can
assigned?
check WH35. We are using it now. Use that as a template as a reference.
Uh, yep. So is there any transaction code?
Okay, there are many transactions. Have you followed all the integration steps?
Uh, Yes, yes. Uh,
So, if you remember, we discussed about the integration steps here, somewhere here. But but just to give you an answer to your query, this is the config. I'll just highlight that config to you. You can go to that recording. There are
okay.
several steps. So not only this, there are many more things. There are distribution model, there are LE configuration. So make sure you do all the settings. That just warehouse creation will not work.
Okay.
Okay. So you will find them here in assign warehouse number. That's where you'll find the pattern dispose and other things.
Signal. Okay. No,
It's there
master
in
data
your
set.
unit one slide as well. Okay. Any questions on the putaway that we are discussing? Putaway strategy. Are we all clear? Shall we proceed?
Ron,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you mentioned the overflow area, but we didn't create any.
Yeah, I'm just giving you examples about how things can work in your projects. I've not created them for this warehouse for this implementation, but you will get such requirements. I'm just giving you all the examples what all you can get.
Okay.
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 Ron, the log which you showed right just now, 2 minutes back, it's not it's not coming from me that log. When I try to click on that log, it's not showing up the steps which it's showing to you.
Your voice is very low, Arjun. Is anyone able to understand? I'm really not
Just give
able
me
to.
1 second. Let me change the headphone.
Hmm.
Don't how about now?
No, still not good. It sounds as if you're speaking from very far. Is anyone able to hear Arjun? The voice is very feeble.
Hello.
Hello.
Now,
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
can
Still
you
not
able to
good,
hear
but
me?
I'll try to understand. Yeah, tell me.
Uh, The log which you showed, right? The warehouse log, the steps.
At the task creation, okay.
It's not coming for me. I mean, the log is not displaying for me when you click on that log, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we the message log, when we click on that, it is not displaying this data form.
You have to click on create first, then it will display.
I tried. Okay, let me do that again.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, you keep your delivery ready. We'll check at the end, yeah, with along with the other
Okay.
issues.
Okay.
Okay, so it will not come before you create. Click on create, and when you see create, and it gives you the detail of what has happened.
Okay.
Okay. Mm, if no further questions, then I'll move on to the next search, which is the storage section search. So, storage section search is pretty much, I would say, static or less complex as compared to the storage type. Storage has so many parameters. Storage section search has just the storage section indicator. That's it. So why we need, storage section? So basically in our warehouse we have told 8003. See, first of all, in EWM storage section is not mandatory, so we haven't created storage section anywhere. Only place we know is storage section is at one place. We said in 8003 we are going to store um, casings as well as shafts, and we'll store them separately. And we will this side will store all the casing, this side will store all the shafts. Okay. So, there's some background noise. Can you please keep your call on mute if you're not speaking? Thank you. So this side we said we are going to store casing. This side we said we are going to store shafts. So now, that's the only place we are using, for a warehouse. But yeah, as I told you, there are several other examples like fast moving, slow moving, and so on. So basically in 8003 we have created two sections. Now what we want is, the shafts should go to the shaft side, the casing should go to the casing side. So the storage type is same, but within the same storage type we are splitting this, the area based on the type of product. So so the other places, other storage type, we have not created sections at all. We don't want to do the division. So for them this config is not required, but for 8003 we need to do the config. So the config is similar to storage type. We create this section indicator C001, which is casing, and WH35 S001, which is shaft. Okay, I will save it for now. And then it's only based on this indicator that you can determine a section. So what I will say, when the warehouse is WH35, also hazardous, we are not working with hazardous products, but yeah, that can also be a parameter. So when the products are going into storage type 8003, and they have section indicator as C001, they should go to C001 section. Okay. When the product is supposed to go into 8003 and the section indicator is S001, it should go to S001. Now here, we can also give sequence. Okay, I haven't given here, but you can also give sequence. Like if there is no bin available in shaft, then shafts can be stored into casing area. Let's say casings cannot be stored into shaft area. Okay, so you can have another sequence here like this. Like if the product is a shaft, it can also go to casing, but a casing cannot come to a shaft. So you can give a sequence to also like this. Okay, so these are the three settings which we have maintained so that the product goes into the right area. Now storage type, section indicator, and section determination. Now what we are going to do, let's say we have a product, another product, which is, let's say industry 300. This is a casing or a shaft. Okay, it's a screw. So let's take a product which is a casing or a shaft, and we'll maintain that indicator for now, and then I will. So the casing is T-T600. Okay, so do I have another casing? Okay, T-B100. Let's take this one. So I'll go and first create it to my warehouse, and then I will, for this product, I'll say it Putaway controller is open storage, and section indicator is C001. Now it will go into C001 section. Okay. Do I have a shaft? Let's say this is a shaft. Okay, I'll go to that product. Like that, I have to maintain all my product with the right put away control indicator and section indicator. Section indicator only required for 8003. Okay, it's done. So this way, we could. So now I want you to test yourself. Take a product and activate this indicator. Take a shaft or take a casing and see. System will not allow you to store it into 8001 or 800. Sorry, it will not allow you to store into shafts. It will not allow you to go into. It will first try to put it into the shaft area. Casing, it will only put into casing. So you can test that yourself. Okay, like how I showed you, and read the log. Okay. So I leave it to you for testing the story section. It's pretty much straightforward. Now let's move on to the next one. Yeah, next determination, which we said. So we spoke about storage type, section. Then third one was bin type check or HU type check. Okay. So now, okay, before I forget, let me also maintain. For my finished product T-F100, I should also maintain that put away control indicator I have created. Otherwise, it will stop us with the put away. So this is a finished product. I'll assign it to FG. I think it is ST or PT. It will stop me. Okay, done. So these are my products. I've maintained them the right indicators so that these are the areas where they are supposed to get stored. This is my finished product, which is why it's not appearing here. I think you can find it here in the org structure. See, yeah, this is a finished product. Okay, so coming back to the third determination, which is the bin storage type, covered storage section determination, and now we are going to cover bin type check. Yeah. So in storage bin type check, okay, happens in bin type check. So in bin type check, basically we, as I told you, this check is only for handling units. Okay. Bin type check, this is, so see, storage section is optional, only required for the storage type which have storage section, right? Storage bin type check also is optional. Optional means you decide at storage type level whether you want to do it or not. Okay, whether you want to check whether the pallet goes into the right bin, whether you want to do that or not. Okay, so there are 4 or 5 configuration, but very straightforward. If you understand the reason for doing that config, this is not at all complicated. It's very straightforward. Okay, so first we'll go and see which storage type we can activate. 8001, that's where the racks are there. That's where we want to store our pallets. So 8001, I will go and activate the HU type check. So here, this is the bin type check or the HU type check. I will activate it here. Okay. So I want to do that check here. So this is the indicator, right? Then it's optional. So now for 8002, I don't want to do that. If that's a rack storage, but I don't want, I will store all types of racks, pallets into my racks. I don't want to do that control. So I'll keep it blank. Okay. So how this check works, we activate first. That's the first thing. Then um, at storage type level, yeah. Then we need to first say, so basically if you remember, there are some two configurations which you already completed. We completed define HU type, okay, and then assign HU type to the warehouse. Like what are the handling unit types we are going to receive in the warehouse. So that's how, we have been able to create handling units, and we did the pack specs and all those things. So this configuration is already done. Okay. So this, obviously this has to be in place before we go ahead with this. So there are, so basically what we are saying here, see HU type, just imagine a type of pallet. Okay. So we say, okay, this is a type of pallet, we allow it in the warehouse. And now we have to do the next level of setting. The next level of setting is, we have to say allow HU type to storage type. So basically, which HU type or which type of palette are allowed in the storage type? See, basically, for 8001, okay, where you have done this HU type check, okay, or we see the config had that indicator HU type, right? So basically, this is also called as HU check, HU type check, yeah. Some may call it as bin type. Your book says bin type, but the indicators at several places says HU type check. Okay, one and the same. So basically, we get a pallet. We say that the pallet is allowed in the warehouse. Then we say, now we have to say the pallet is allowed in that storage type because we did this check. We have to tell the system which pallets we are going to store in that storage type. See why this check is important, because you do not end up, having a wrong pallet in a wrong storage type. So let's say you have a very high temperature area. You don't want your plastic pallets to go there. Correct. So let's say you have a very, very narrow aisles and you have big metal steelages. You don't want those kind of pallets to go into those narrow aisles because the pallets will not fit. Okay. So you don't want the wire baskets to go, because wire baskets, they have, let's say, trolleys, or a trolley kind of pallet. You don't want, or a cart kind of a pallet, you don't want that to go because it has, there are some um, pallets which have wheels. You don't want that to go into the rack storage. Okay. So you decide, which pallets are allowed in your storage type. Okay. Then you you say, okay, so this is, you should also say define something called as bin type at your I mean, as a prerequisite. Okay, I would say these are prereq for your config for your bin type check. So we should also define bin types in the in the storage type. So what is bin type? Bin types means the type of bins. Simple, like if it's a bin on the lower level, bin on the higher level, the bins with height 5 meters, bins with height 3 meters. I mean, you can basically, in this type of storage, you can create your bin size as well. So in my rack, are all the bins of the same size? Okay, if yes, then yes, we create one bin type for all the sizes. Okay, do we need, so I have different bins. You all have seen the rack stories, right? So we have different types of bins. So now do we need to identify certain bins separately? Okay. For example, my question to my supervisor who, or my SME who is giving me this requirement is the the pallets they come. Do you want to differentiate the pallet to a particular type of bin, or any pallet can go into all the bins? So definitely there will be some constraints, because the rackings are not always straightforward. So one constraint would be, like, hey, if you're bringing me a metal pallet, you only store them on the low level. If and on a higher level, you store the cartons. Let's say that is a one of the constraint. Okay. So the other constraint could be the bin dimensions, the height, the width doesn't match on top, it matches only at bottom. Okay, so that could also be a reason. So, another reason which is very common is, the the level, the topmost level. Sometimes it has a very less height. All are of same size, but the topmost level, the height is half. Okay, so in that case, what the business users tell us, hey, Rohan, only the half pallets, the pallets which have 50% of the quantity, they should go up. All other full pallets should be stored here in the other areas. Okay, so essentially what we are doing here is we are defining which pallet should go into which type of bin. So now the reason we generally have just one type of bin, if it's a very um, ideal warehouse, straightforward warehouse, all bins are going to be of same dimensions. And warehouse supervisor or the SME will tell you, hey, just place anything anywhere. All bins are same. Then you just need to create one bin type. But some warehouses they have this kind of requirements. The bin types, bins are not the same. So what we'll do is in our warehouse we'll say, for example, this is 8001. We'll say, the bins on these levels, okay, these levels, they are of height 1 meter, okay, and the lower one is of 1.25 meters. Okay, so I'll just create two types of bins. Okay, so this is, let's say, bin, or I'll just say, higher level bins. Okay, this is my bin type. I'm going to create two bin types, high level and low level. So these bins at the bottom are, I'm going to create bin type as low level. Okay. So these types of bin types I'll create and assign to the bins. Okay. So this is a prerequisite, and then we basically what we are going to do is we are going to say that we have pallet, Euro pallets. Okay, we have large carton, medium carton, small carton. We allow them into 8001. Okay, so HU type check, I'm just mentioning here, this is a check we are going to do in 8001, for example. So then I'm going to allow Euro pallets and cartons. I'm not allowing wire basket into this storage type. And then the last config is assign HU type to bin type. I'm going to say if the product comes into Euro pallets, they will only go into low level bin. If it comes into cartons, the first priority will be you're always going to higher level bin. Let's say all the high level bins are free, all the high level bins are full, then go to low level bin. Okay, bin type of sequence 1, and this is my bin type sequence 2. But Euro palette, it can always go into, see here, we are not looking at all on the product. The total emphasis has been on the palette, type of palette. Okay, so here I'm saying always look into the um, always look into the type of palette and determine where it will go. It will go to low level or it will go to the higher level. See, the small palettes can go to low level, but the products which are coming in Euro palette, they should always go here. See, if you want to reserve this place, you don't want to give a sequence. That is also fine. It all depends on how the business want to configure this. Okay, so these are the two configs we have to do. It's simple. We just have to, and also make sure that the prerequisite ones are there. We need to create bin types, assign bin types to the to the to the bins, and then we need to basically tell system which HUs we will be storing them and which HUs goes into which bin type. Okay, so are we clear with this concept, HU type bin type check?
Yeah, clear for me. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it will take some time to do this configure testing. Can we take a quick 5 minutes break and come back?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 12:53. Let's come back around 12. Let's come back at 1. Yeah, it's 54 now. Okay. Okay, shall we start? Shall we start? Are you all back?
Yes, Ron.
Okay. Right. So now what we'll do is we'll do this config quickly. Mm, So first thing is, as a prerequisite, we haven't created the bin types. Yeah. So let me create bin types for my 8001 storage. Okay. Make it simple. WH35. I'm not giving any dimensions to my bin. Say low level bins. Save it. Yeah, I can also give the weight, volume, height, width, all those things. I will just create them for now. High level bins. Save it. Done. And now what we need to do is we need to come here, and this is the setting which we need to do. Okay. Assign a bin type to HU type. That means in WH35 my storage type is 8001. What are the bin types I'm going to use? I'm going to use low level and 8001 and higher level bins. Save. See, this configuration is not enough. We also need to go and assign the bins to the types, right? So I generally use this LS11. You can also use monitor transaction. I'm going to 8001 and you can see there are so many bins. Yeah. So now if you see this bin, okay, see, this is storage bin. System is telling me bin requires a bin type. Why it is telling me bin requires a bin type? Because at a storage type level I have activated the bin type check. Okay, now we need to maintain bin types. We need to tell system which bin is a low level bin, which bin is a high level bin. So if I look at this bin name, the bin which have level A are low level bins. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to say do like this. I'm going to paste here the a particular bin of level A. I'll say star star any aisle, any stack. Show me all the A level bins. These are all the A level bins, just three. Okay, change them. I'll say don't need an access type, so I'll say reset bin access type and then assign them bin type of low level. Continue. So gone. Assign them to low level. Save it. Done. Three bins are changed. Now, okay. So I think that was those were test bins. I think I made a mistake here. I should have taken the other ones. These are just I might have created for testing purpose ABC. Actually, I think we have created. Hmm. Think I've created. Okay, I think I have not followed the right. So this is 5 level. Okay, so only okay. I should have created some more bins on the lower level, but it's fine. Just three, it's still okay. So the ones apart from this, I'm going to filter them out. Other than I'm going to say all these bins are higher level bins. Oops, that's not section, sorry. Okay, and then I'll save it, yeah. 66 bins have changed, okay. They are not coming up here because I have a filter. I'll remove the filter. Okay, so we have some high level bins, some low level bins. 3 is fine for testing now. Okay, our storage type level. Now I think we have done all the prerequisites. Let's go and say do this setting, right? Assign HU type for each warehouse number. This we have already done. We have said what are the HU types we are going to use for a warehouse. That's why we were able to create all those palettes and all. Now I'm going to say for which storage type. In my storage type, this is the config I'm going to do now. Where it is. This one, yeah. So which palettes I want to allow? I'll say WS35 8001. I'm going to store carton and a Euro palette. Yeah. Okay. The next setting I'm going to do is I'm going to say if in warehouse WH35 8001, if I get a bin in Euro palette, it should go to low level only. Save it. Yeah. If I get it in WH35, if I get it in large carton, put it into 800. Oh, sorry, put it into higher level. And if I'll give another sequence, if there is no high level bin, come on, then put it into low level. Save this one now. I'll just go. Okay. Same thing I'm going to do with the medium and the small carton. First, my priority would be to store them into the higher level. Come on. Then oh God, just give me a minute. My alt tab is not that smooth today. CM, and I'll say low level, high level, and the second one is low level. Now the last palette type, small cartons. 001 CS. First store them into low level. Oh, sorry, high level. Then if high level bins are not available, put them into low level. Okay. So we have done our configuration. Okay, now it's time to do the testing. So we'll use the same handling unit, same inbound delivery, same handling unit. Now, if you look at this handling unit, Okay. I'm sorry, I should have gone to packing. So if you look at this handling unit, what HU type it is? It's a large carton. Large carton should go into higher level. Okay, let us see. More follow on function, warehouse stars, and I'll say create. Now, is it going into 8001? Still not going into 8001. Okay, so what is the reason? Let us identify here. So it went into RKST, HU type check found, no section. So you can see it is not going into 8001 because it is saying no section search sequence found. But okay, but 8001, I don't want to do section search. So I can deactivate, right? It's an optional thing. I don't have sections in 8001. So why can't I deactivate it? So in standard it is active. We have copied standard. Let's go and deactivate it. So here there is something called a storage section search. I'll keep it blank. That means I don't want system to do the section sec check. Okay. Right, I save it. Come back here, go back in again. Inbound, follow function, warehouse task. Then I say create. And you can see this time it is going to 8001 and it is going to level B, which is higher level. And if you spend some time reading the logs, you'll quickly understand, what system is trying to do here. System, you can see, first tries to put into 8001. Okay, storage search RKST found, destination storage check section search is not activated, and then it went here into the 8001 higher level, low level bin. It is trying to identify, check what are these parameters which have to be checked. So then it is saying it has to go to high level, then found out a bin, check the capacity of the bin. Capacity was available, we haven't maintained any capacity, and it went down and assigned that bin. Okay, so what happens now? This is like higher level. We if there is no pin in the high level, it will be allowed to go to low level. So let me do a negative test. Okay, what I will do, I'll pack this palette into a Euro palette, yeah, and I'll try to push this Euro palette into the higher level. Let us see we get an error or what. So if you see, come on. So it is Euro palette. HU type is Euro palette. I've just packed it into a Euro palette for my testing. Euro palettes are only allowed on low level. Now what I'm going to do is, uh, system will definitely determine a low level for this, that we have checked it's working. Now I want to do a negative test. I don't want system to pick the higher level bin for Euro palette. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to manually give a higher level bin and see whether system does that check or not. So you can see it is giving me error that you cannot create a task because it's a Euro palette, and Euro palettes are not permitted to go on higher levels because the size will not, you know, the size of a Euro palette will not cannot be kept into a higher level bin. Okay, So this way, we can configure the HU type check. Okay, and now we have done that for 8001, and you can see always system will find the right bin for the right palette. This is very important, especially in the rack storage. And obviously, as you can see, as the name itself suggests, HU type check, it is mandatory to have handling units to do this check. Okay, so by this way, we complete our third determination, which is bin type check. Okay, so any questions before we move on to the next one? So now let's take this example. You know, now let's say this. Okay, let's take this very simple case. Okay, it's into Europalette. There are three bins. Okay, now when I create a task, there are three bins on the lower level, right? So why it only took 800110A? Why it only took that bin? There were three bins on the lower level, but why it only took this? So that's what we are going to see in our next config. What influences, the bin selection when when we know the right storage type, section, the bin, why it only picks this one. So for that we need to understand. So all config, whatever we have discussed, menu path and all the settings are mentioned here. So you can refer that while you're testing. I have now gone to the last section, which is the bin determination. Okay. So now here we have different settings which basically controls how the bins are determined. Okay, so if many bins qualify after the storage types, bin, section, HU type check, if many bins qualify, how we select them. So in this case, for each of these are all the put-away strategies: manual, fixed bin, near fixed bin, empty, general, addition to stock, bulk, well, pallet. So these are all the strategies. Okay. So for these strategies, we need to understand what is the principle, okay, or what is the standard SAP setup for determining a bin. Okay. So most of these strategies, they are configured at a storage type level. Okay. So for fixed bin, you have an indicator use fixed bin. For storage, next fixed bin, you have an indicator one here. We'll try to understand these things. Okay. For empty bin, the storage type indicator is something. For general, in addition to stock, there is something. So these first six, oh, they're not six, I would say. Yeah, six of them. There are total eight. So first six, they are all configured, at a storage type level by one or the other indicator. The other two require some more additional config. Okay. So we'll see the other two, which require additional config and testing. So the other two is bulk storage and pallet storage strategy, which we will set up for a finished good and we will test that tomorrow. But today let us understand what are these six strategies, okay, and how to activate them, and what is the principle, what is the SAP standard con- code, or just SAP standard setup, on how the bin should be determined in each of this case. So first one is empty bin storage. This is what we have for 8001. If you see in 8001, there is something called as put-away rule. The put-away rule is 5. So the put-away rule 5 means, always look for an empty bin. So whenever the stock comes trying to put away, you put it into empty bin. Whichever the first empty bin you are able to find. Okay, so it just takes in the numerical sequence or any sequence, and it just takes the first empty bin. So it's more suitable for racks, right? Racks, and you have handling units, because in one rack bin we just store one pallet, right? That is most standard, most common strategy. So one bin, one pallet, and here the bins, we have the empty bin. That means system always goes and checks which is the empty bin. Okay. So in 8001, the empty bin setting is done. See, Putaway rule is 5. Okay. So this always ensures it goes to the empty bin. Okay. Now let's go to the next strategy. The next strategy is manual. Simple. I'll go from simple ones. Yeah. The manual one, you just have to, like I was doing previously, I was giving the manually when I was creating a task. It's just to manually influence, where the product goes. Yeah. Next one is open storage, which has, in standard open storage, the strategy we have is general storage. So where do we use general storage? Okay, and for general storage, what is the setting? For general storage, we do like this. We say general storage number 4. Okay. Now you would ask me what is general storage, and then I'm just going to remove all these indicators. General means I don't want to control anything. I'm not putting any restriction on mixed storage or anything. There's no put away. Just simply just put away control. Okay, I'll just simply remove this. Just removing unwanted indicators. So what is basically open storage? Open storage number rule is set up as 4. So where do we use open storage? We are going to use that in 8003. So why we use that? What is the relevance? So relevance is, we use that in the overflow area or the open area or the yard, where you have multiple products in one bin, or in a shade. You may have a shade where you keep your raw materials. Sometimes all the fabricated panels and steel and all those kind of raw material which occupy a lot of space, you keep them. See, this area is for big, this strategy is for big area where you don't have many bins. It's an open on the floor. Products can be easily identified. The whole area is actually one bin itself. Okay, so in our warehouse we are using for casings and shaft. So when the raw casing comes, they are kept on the floor. Okay, and they are piles of casings on the floor. We cannot we can go easily go and identify which one is where, right? And same way with the shafts, we don't put them into the racks. We just, they are raw shafts. We have to machine them. So they're just kept on the floor in the general area. Okay. So when we don't want any control, I mean, like no restriction, we may have handling unit, so we don't have handling unit, doesn't matter. And we just want to store. So here the handling unit, I will say it is optional. That means even though if I don't have handling unit, it is still fine. As of now, it says that you're not allowed. I'll remove that also. And there are no restrictions, like there's no capacity, nothing. We just simply allow unlimited casing. We'll just create 1 or 2 bins and then simply store the stock into those bins. Okay. So that is open storage. Okay. Now, next one is fixed bin storage. fixed bin and near fixed bin. So for fixed bin storage, there is a setting here, which is here, use fixed bins. So now for fixed bin storage, always what happens is there is a fixed dedicated bin assigned to a product. So whenever I say fixed bin, you imagine your the grocery shopping that you do in your in the retail stores, right? Every item has a dedicated location. It's a marketplace, we call it. So what benefit we have, by assigning a dedicated bin? So now here in the storage type, let's say 100 bins qualify. System is going to check what is your fixed bin for your product. Okay, so now, and then it will only place the stock into your fixed bin. Now we will see how to assign fixed bin to a product. But what is the benefit here? It is easy for picking. So when you go for shopping, you know where exactly you need to go and pick oil, where have to go and pick rice, or where you have to go and pick bread, where you have to go and pick eggs. Okay, and you know those are the fixed locations, fixed bins for those items, right? As a retailer, as a customer, we find it very easy. We know which aisle, what is there. There are big boards, and if we start going there 2 3 times, we know exactly where to go, right? Same things happen with production picking. The pickers for production, they always go and pick from there. Okay, and then they take it to production. So this we have a kind of marketplace. We arrange products as kind of marketplace, so that it becomes easy for the pickers to take the stock to the production line. So in our area 8005, if you see, it's something like a marketplace, which is meant to be close to the production area. You just pick the stock from here, and then you pick the stock from here, or the production guys, they come for shopping, they pick it from this marketplace, take it for production. Okay, so we also have this kind of setup in our warehouses. And when we have these fixed storages, it's important that we assign the product to the right bin. So how do we do that? We know how to activate fixed bin storage. So there is a master data called bin mat, SCWM bin mat. So if the product is supposed to go into 8005, let's say my product is 800, T-T 300. It is supposed to get stored into 8005. I'll come here and tell system which bin this product is going to be stored. Let's say this is the fixed bin for the product. Product is T-T 300, for example. There are some quantities here. I'll explain you during the replenishment process. But for now, this is how you are going to assign a fixed bin to a product. Whenever I'm going to do put away, it is going to for 8005, system will check as per the storage type subsequence. This product is supposed to go to 8005, and then this is the bin it will try to put away into. Okay, so put away bin is fixed for this product now. Okay, and when we work with fixed bins, we need to additionally maintain this master data. We assign a fixed bin to a product. Okay, so you can test it, take any product, put it into 8005, maintain the fixed bin, and you can see it only goes to that bin. We will do a lot of testing, where I will mix and match these strategies, and we'll test them as we go ahead. Okay. So product goes into 8005 fixed bin, and we pick it. Okay, so this is fixed bin strategy. Okay, we covered four. There are two more. The other one is near fixed bin. Okay, so for near fixed bin, we need to do some replenishment setup. We'll do that later in internal warehouse processing. I'll just tell you, how this high level. I'll tell you how it works. Okay. Now in 8001 and 2, we get a pallet, and this is 8005. Let's say. See, this rack area is huge. There are so many aisles, thousands of bins, so many stack levels, full pallets are coming. Okay. So what happens is 8001, okay, 8005. So so each product has a fixed bin. Okay. So let's say this is my fixed bin. This is one kind of a setup, okay, for this product. So sometimes some warehouses you may have a setup like this, where the the top level will be 8001, which will be we call that as reserve, and this will be 8005. This will be your fixed bin. So generally what happens, if I'm not sure, there's very famous retailer in US, Costco, they do this. If you go to Costco, you actually go to their warehouse, and they don't have a separate warehouse. You take items in bulk. Okay, so they have this setup. If you have seen, or maybe don't remember any such retailer in India. So what we do here in this case, see, for each product, let's say this is the product as the fixed bin for the product. Now we may get hundreds of pallets, right? So HU1 for the same product, let's say HU2, let's say HU3. Okay, and this is one aisle. The same product can be stored in several aisles. Okay, so the low level bins basically are assigned to a different storage type, and low level bin is your marketplace. So the production people, or whenever you are assigning a fixed bin to a product, you assign it to the low level. Okay, so now what happens when you do the GR, you do put away here, but you can see, if you have 20 pallets, you cannot put away into one bin, isn't it? There is no capacity to put 20 pallets into one location. Yes, it is required for production guys can easily pick from here, but how to dump, vendors gives me 20 pallets, how to dump them here? So what we do is we store the parts. When they come, we store them into 8001, and whenever the stock goes down here, I'll take one pallet out, bring it down here, open it, and the production team can keep on picking from there. That's how it happens, right? In your grocery shopping. When just imagine Walmart or Big Bazaar, they get full pallets. They don't keep 20 pallets in front of you, right? They'll keep the pallet in the 20 pallets in the warehouse. One pallet they'll bring here, they open the box and they open the item, and then you pick those items from there, right? So they open the pallet and keep the boxes there, and you pick from those boxes, right? Same way it happens in industry also. We get the fixed bin storage does not have enough capacity to store huge items, right? And plus, the idea of if I cannot assign 20 bins, 20 fixed bins, then my marketplace will be very big. Just imagine if you go buying, groceries, and if you have one full aisle of eggs, one full aisle of bread, it doesn't make any sense. It will be a very huge warehouse, and you'll end up walking for so many things, right? So so we in one aisle, one section, and one bin for eggs, or one bin for a type of bread, right? Or for oil, there is dedicated one or maximum two bins. So what the whole idea here is to have small quantity of all the items. Then only it becomes marketplace, right? So that less movement, you see all the products at glance, and you can pick whatever you want. And most of the time, if you, after 2 3 visit, you know exactly which product is where. Correct. So same thing happens here. This is like the Walmart warehouse at the back. sometimes in industry what happens, the low level is good for pickle. So what we do is we store the products on the higher level, and the pickers they pick from the low level. Okay, and the low level is the fixed bin. So we store full pallets that I get here into high level, and then I'll replenish them here. As soon as it becomes empty, I'll bring a pallet from here to here, and then I'll open the pallet and I'll pick the part. So this is a replenishment process in warehouse. We replenish from the marketplace to the reserve, from reserve to the marketplace. Okay, so we are going to discuss replenishment in more detail in Intel warehouse. We have to see how it works. The stock goes down, how we get a pallet from there to here. But why I'm explaining you here now as part of inbound. See, there I was explaining about strategy. So strategy is to put it into the fixed bin. That was our last strategy. But let's say there is a part which comes in bulk. We cannot directly put away into the fixed bin. I want to store them near to fixed bin. So that's our next strategy. So if HU5 comes, I want to, if this bin is empty, I would like to store it here. See why I would like to store it close to the bin, because it is easy for replenishment, right? It optimizes my replenishment process. So when the stock goes down below minimum, I just have to take it from here and here, put it here. So just imagine 10, 15 aisles. Your product, your pallet, full pallet is on the 15th aisle, your fixed bin is on the first aisle. Again, that's not efficient, right? It's not efficient. You're taking pallet from 15 to here, it doesn't make sense. It's such a big trip for your worker. Ideally, it should be, as if you're using this kind of concept where low level bins are your fixed bins, high level bins are your random storage or reserve storage. Then in that case, we use this near fixed bin strategy, where what happens is system checks for the product what is a fixed bin, and then it assigns a bin closest to that fixed bin. Okay. So I think we don't have any storage type where we have near fixed bin strategy, but if you want to test it, you can. Uh, I have a different setup for the replenishment, which I'll explain you. But if you want to do that near fixed bin setup, you can set this search rule for empty bin as near to fixed bin. That means search empty bin, but search empty bin closest to the fixed bin, as close as possible to the fixed bin. Okay, then it will try to find a bin which is closest to the fixed bin. Okay, so this is the near fixed bin strategy and fixed bin strategies. The last one is addition to stock. Now, what is addition to stock? See, so these are racks, I've just explained you about rack storage. I think there is something called as, you might have seen, like these kind of shelves, yeah, for small items, right? Okay, let's take this example. A very small company, they have these kind of shelves. Okay, nuts, bolts, washers, small items are kept here. Now for these items, see, you get one box, you put it here. The next box comes, you put it here. So basically, this is not fixed bin. Okay, so you have some bolts here, some bolts here, some types of bolts here. So what happens here? See, when see here we don't have any capacity problem. Okay, so we can open two, three boxes, and whenever we get these boxes, we store them here. Okay, so here, let's say the requirement is, if in one of the bin we have 10, 20 pieces, whatever it is, and another 10 pieces come from supplier. Okay, so now there are some bolts in one of the bin. So let's say this whole low level is occupied, okay, with one or the same product or different product. That, let's say, this bin is totally occupied, this bin is partially occupied, and this bin is these bins are empty. Okay, So when I get a bolt for some dimensions, okay, I cannot place them here because these bins are full. Okay, I can, if my strategy is next empty bin, it will take any empty bin and put those bolts here. But let's say my user tells me, hey, Rohan, hold on. I am not fully utilizing my warehouse. I have space constraint. And what I see is, you always keep on assigning a different bin, which is not solving the purpose. These bins are partially full. If the same bolt is here, why don't you add here? Okay. I said, okay, that's fine. I can add here. I can change the strategy to addition to stock and I can add here. So what addition to stock does? It doesn't find an empty bin. It finds in the storage type, wherever you're placing the stock, it finds which bin has that stock already and if there is capacity to add more. See, capacity is very important here. Why I mentioned capacity? Because if I don't maintain any capacity, system will always tell me, okay, there is stock here, go add, go add. There's this item is there and this, go add, go add, go add. I'll keep on adding, but I can only accommodate 1,000 bolts here. So if I get five boxes and it's 500 bolts, I can only accommodate, let's say 200, 300. There are 800 already there in this bin. So now that doesn't solve my purpose, right? So I want to place 200 here and 300 to another one. So basically we need a capacity here. So capacity can be maintained in terms of weight, volume, okay, and there are capacity figures also we can use to put some capacity. So capacity is very important in addition to stock. So I'll say, okay, you want to add stock in this partial bins, I'll do that. Tell me what is your capacity. Tell me if it is weight, volume, what is the capacity of the bins, I'll maintain. So what happens when the system tries to put away tasks? It will check, if the capacity is available, put it into this bin, and then if it exceeds, put the remaining quantity into another empty bin. Okay. So addition to stock, there are two, three constraints which I'm going to discuss when business gives me this requirement. One, give me the capacity. You have to maintain the capacity for your products. Then the next constraint I'm going to discuss is about the good receipt date, the stock mixing. So now what has happened, there are old bolts and I've added new bolts into this. So now they have mixed. The problem could be if the business wants to use FIFO, first in, first out. So now how will the user identify which are the older, which are the new ones? He will not be able to identify. Or even though they are separate boxes, there are chances he can, you know, pick wrong ones, right? So I have to let business know. The other thing you need to think about when you do the strategy is your shelf life is not important for you, or maybe your FIFO picking is not important for you. He says, okay, these are just bolts. Yeah, they have 10 years, 20 years life, and it's a fast moving item. So I'm not worried about FIFO. These products, and as per audit, we are not supposed to maintain FIFO for this product. FIFO means the product which comes in first should go out first. Okay, so that you don't have old stock in your inventory, right? So for these products, FIFO doesn't matter. These are low value products. Just simply pick them, Rohan, and I'm okay. Even if they pick new, this bin almost gets empty. In 2 days, and it's a very fast moving. So I will give these two word of questions. You have an additional master data in terms of capacity you have to maintain. The other thing I'm going to tell them is your FIFO will be compromised. Are you okay? They say yes, we are okay. Okay, let's activate addition to stock. So when I'm activating addition to stock, I will go and set up this indicator in the storage type. Okay, and then I will also maintain the capacity. Okay? Whether it's based on the product, packaging material, weight. So these two settings are important when we do a addition to stock. Okay, so these are some of the standard strategies. We have two more standard strategies, bulk and pallet. They require some additional config, and bulk is pretty important, and we have set up bulk for our finished good storage. So tomorrow we will set up a bulk storage for our finished goods, and we will get a lot of inventory for our finished goods so that we can start our outbound process from next week onwards. Okay, so our outbound process, we are going to ship our finished goods. We need a lot of inventory, right, for finished goods, so that uh, we need a lot of inventory for a finished goods so that we can test the outbound process. Okay. So I'll stop here. I'll take any questions and your practice queries. But any questions before we start discussing your queries? Anything anybody would like to discuss? Okay, if no questions, then let's go ahead. Okay, what is this QM integration issue? Can you tell me which delivery it is? Shall I look into that email?
Let me give you the deliveries.
I think it's 2252, right? I'm just looking at your email.
2252, okay? 2252.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what happened with this one? You did a UD and it did not change into unrestricted.
Yes.
UD is given, I can see that. Okay, it's accepted. So let's check into the mod. Have you done the put away for this one? No, it's in the GR area. Let me have a look. What is the handling unit? Okay, let me have a look at the stock. Still in quality. Still the usage decision is assigned. There's no
Despite doing UD, still in quality.
mm, let us see if there are any queue failures.
You failure.
Okay, not there with us. Let me check the delivery number. Hmm. Let me try giving a UD for another one. 2261. Do the good receipt. Okay. And what is the inspection document here? It's Q3. Inspection document is 811. Let us give a UD now. So did you give your UD here?
Yes, I
Okay.
selected A1. Yes.
Save it.
Yeah. Then
And
okay.
let us see. We're going inside.
Refresh.
It's gone.
So what could have happened there? Uh,
Maybe there might be some system locking at that time. Can you try again? Okay. I would like to remove quality for this warehouse. Okay, or let me, if you want to use this, let me maintain the, you can test it. Let me maintain the product so that, tomorrow we are not, tomorrow's session we are not impacted. So try again, could be a temporary issue.
okay.
So I'm going to change this rule so that, hmm, okay, it's only applied for this product. Okay. So yeah, our finished good, I don't want quality to impact our finished good put away tomorrow. So yeah, you can test. I'll keep it for open for this product.
Okay.
Okay. So I think this looks clear. You can do a recheck. Okay. Let's see if the issue still exists. So invalid HU. Arjun, do you have an example for us?
20,027 is the warehouse order.
20? Sorry, I'm not able to
20,027
hear you.
is 20,027.
Is that a delivery?
Warehouse order.
Warehouse order. What is your warehouse number? NO35, right?
No, NG35.
NG35. What is your warehouse order number?
20,027.
Mm, 2. What do
27.
you say?
Yes.
Sure, it's right. 20. Okay. Again, you haven't changed your process type. Please change it. And here it's open. And okay, confirm plus here. It's confirmed.
No, here it's happening. I'm talking about in RF.
Okay, okay. All right, we need to set up another example then.
Just one moment, I'll give you one more example.
Log into RF. NG35. Let me take a resource. Okay. Focus one. Nope. Oops, you're locking all resource, yeah?
I was fine with all the. We can remove, right? I mean, let me remove the resource.
Yeah, I'll do that, no problem. Think others, if you want, you can drop off. We have reached our end time for today. So, if you don't have any questions, you can drop off. We'll connect again tomorrow and continue with the strategy. Okay, tell me the order number now.
One second. Quickly. 28 at the last.
Okay, 1 minute. Anubhav, are you there? Okay, no problem. I think Anubhav had a question. 28 at the last, yeah?
No, it's correct. 20,000.
Okay, select this handling unit, select the pin, it's done.
Could you please show me the steps? I mean, what are the, I mean, where do you go? I think I'm going the wrong warehouse order notification. I'm not sure.
So if you go in, okay, now I don't have an order open. So what you need to do is you need this small field. You have to copy paste the handling unit number over there. Maybe you're doing a mistake, with copying pasting the handling unit number.
So complete handling unit number need to press that.
Yes, you have to just copy it and paste it.
Okay, okay. That was a mistake I did. I understood. I thought that just we need to enter one random number so it will take us to the next screen.
No, no, no.
But
That is a verification field. You're telling the system that you scan the pallet.
mm, thank you, Ron.
Okay, no problem. All right, then. We'll, those were the open questions. So we'll connect again tomorrow and continue with our further topic. Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a nice day.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.